welcome to the Common Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to talk about Andor Episode 10. Now, I have been a bit down on Andor of late. It's funny, I say down, but I'm still giving the last couple episodes 8 out of 10. So that just tells you about how down I am on Andor. But this week, one of the best episodes they've done. This was such good fucking television. This wasn't just good for a Star Wars show. This was, like I said, Andor is a show that flirts with HBO, Showtime quality. There's a prestige to HBO. And there's a prestige to certain shows, certain shows on certain networks. And Disney Plus, outside of, I'd say, The Mandalorian and maybe in sequences in the MCU, in the Marvel shows, a sequence here, sequence there, maybe WandaVision and Loki maybe come close to, come close to touching that, stratosphere of HBO. Other than that, there really hasn't, nothing's really gotten too close. This episode, along with a couple others in this series, really felt like some prestige show on HBO. I mean, there was drama, intensity, action, amazing acting, amazing direction. It was riveting. It was heart-pumping. It was intense. I mean, I loved everything about this episode. It made the last couple weeks feel worth it. Because, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of their 2-episode build up to the event, but you know what? Once we got there, once I started watching it, once I got into it, I was like, okay, you know what? Although I will never watch those last 2 episodes in a vacuum, in a straight shot like binge format, those episodes work, and this episode is one of the best episodes of television, period, that I've seen this year. It's definitely one of the best episodes of Star Wars that I've seen this year, and it was just so amazingly acted. Andy Serkis killed it, and I was happy to see Andy Serkis in this, because like I said, Andy Serkis is an actor who is mostly known for playing Gollum, in The Lord of the Rings. And, he really didn't do a lot. He did a lot of mocap stuff. I think he opened up his own mocap studio. He kind of became the mocap guy. And then in recent years, the last 4 or 5 years, he's really started doing stuff again. Obviously he was Claw in Age of Ultron and Black Panther. I was still sad to see him go. I thought he was very entertaining as Claw. He played a wonderful Alfred. I think I said that in my last video. He did a wonderful job as Alfred. I think he even played. I think he was even in Planet of the Apes as was he Caesar? I can't remember who he played, but he was in Planet of the Apes and he did a great job mocap work in that too. So it's great to see him in Star Wars. It's fun to see him in Star Wars, and he's playing this, and desperation. And it really feels like, and this episode in particular is the first time that Andor realizes he has a voice to push people, to inspire people, to incite rebellion. And he felt it, and rebelling, and last week we found out that Andor, the prison Andor got sent to, that ever since that whole robbery, they have the Empire has cracked down on everything, and sentences have been extended, sentences that would have been 2 years are now 15 years and shit like that. Crazy sentences. And he gets sent to prison. And of course, he's trying to, when he initially gets sent there, he's trying to figure out a way to break out. But, obviously everyone else there is yeah, fuck that shit. We're not getting involved. We're not dying over your wild ideas. Because a lot of them are almost out. Andy Serkis' character, who is one of the big leaders, because the way this prison works is the prisoners are actually working on stuff. It's free labor. You've seen this before, the old classic thing of the prisoners breaking stones and the prisoners breaking stones in the courtyard, or, how that goes, when making prisoners do, or the prisoners making, license plates and shit like that. It's kind of something like that, except they're making, I'm not sure what they're making. Maybe someone who's more in depth in Star Wars can understand what exactly they are making, But either way, they're making it like they're working in a factory, like an assembly line, like they're free labor in an assembly line. Even the verbiage of on program and whatnot. And it feels like they're working. And like Andy Serkis is like the head director of this section of the prison, of the facility, you know? And he's got, and like they don't really go off of years, they go off of shifts. How many shifts you have in the time you're here. And Andy Serkis's character has like, he's like, I got 200 shifts. And like, which is, I imagine roughly like a year, basically. Like roughly, barely, like most of like, cause I just imagine, I don't know how many shifts they do in the day. I didn't really get that bit, but I'm gonna just imagine it's like, it's not too long, which is why he doesn't want to get involved in this rebellion to start, which is why no one does, cause not everyone has like a bunch of years in here. Some people just have a little bit of time left, including this one older man who ends up dying, you know, because of something, you know, ends up dying because of something, because he had a stroke, but, you know, like, there's all these kind of things going on. And then it's revealed that things are much worse in this prison than Andor and even Andy Serkis's character thought, because they're not actually releasing people when they let them go. They're putting them in cell, they're gathering up the people who were supposed to be released and killing them. AKA, when you come to the end of your turn, you are killed. They're not releasing anyone anymore. And once that reveal is opened up, all of a sudden it becomes one of those, dude, we have to do something. We have to fight. We have to escape. They're killing us. There is no out. There is no waiting, you know, like, and it was like the desperation, and oh man, the whole thing was great, dude. And especially once Andy Serkis got on board, it was great. And once he started talking to the men, and at a certain point, just out, we're getting out, one way out, one way out. That whole thing was amazing. That one way out, and Andy Serkis talking to them, and just like, there's 5,000 of us. They don't got enough to hold us. We're gonna escape, and like, it was riveting. It was riveting stuff, goosebump stuff. Like, I was waiting for the next goddamn episode immediately. But yeah, man, this episode was everything great about the show. Everything great about the show was wrapped up in this particular episode. And meanwhile, while this amazingness is going on, you have this great scene with Skarsgård's character, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, where he's talking to someone who he's groomed, a great spy who was in the ISB, and he's talking to him, and the spy just had a child, and he's like, I don't want to be involved in this anymore. And it's really just talking about the worth of this cause. Like, how much is this cause worth? And how much sacrifice is for this cause? And he goes into this beautiful monologue, this beautiful and heartbreaking monologue about how he's given everything for this cause. He's given everything for a sunrise he'll never see, for someone's future he'll never be able to be there for. He's like, everything I'm doing, I'll never be appreciated for it. I'll never be, you know, patted on the back for it. It's like this rebellion, like, and that it's sad. But like a lot often than not, that's how it is though, with rebellion and war. There will always be people who did something that if they did not do it, things don't happen the way they happen. If they do not do it, whoever hero who rose never gets to rise. There's always going to be people who had to lay down in the mud to allow, I don't know, everything to happen the way it's supposed to happen. So like, and the idea of Andor, the show, well, even Rogue One, if you want to be, you know, think about it that way, is these unsung heroes, the actual backbone, the actual sparks of the rebellion. Like I say, you think like Luke, Leia, and Han, and even Lando are the heroes of the rebellion. They took it over the top. But there is no spark, there is no rebellion, there is no structure for it if people like Andor, if people like Skarsgård's character didn't sacrifice everything to propel it, didn't give up everything for something bigger than themselves. And it's a beautiful thing that's always been through the course of the show, but it really resonated here, particularly with Andor and Skarsgård's character doing what they did. There's some other stuff happening, but those are the main things, the main huge positive things that lend this episode to being fantastic. I give Andor episode 10 a 10 out of 10. Loved it. Wish every week could be this good. Wish every week could be this high. Damn, it was good. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.